Welcome to the Midlife Leap, a lifestyle talk show for women in midlife. I'm your host, Sunita Johnson, and I am excited to share tips and interviews on topics ranging from business, career, travel, current news, fashion, shopping, health, and so much more. And because I'm known as the Midlife Leap Coach, from time to time, I'll share some of my signature Midlife Leap coaching tips. So come on, ladies, let's reignite and reimagine our Midlife Leap journey together. Did you know that caregiver burnout is a real thing? It's a medical condition defined as a state of physical, emotional, and mental exhaustion. Caregiver burnout occurs when caregivers try to do more than they are able to do physically, mentally, or financially. According to the National Alliance of Caregiving and AARP, the average age of a caregiver is 49.2 years old. Now, middle age is already a time of significant life changes. So if you also have caregiver responsibilities, it's vital that you plan and make changes to avoid burnout. Unfortunately, too many are lone rangers trying to do it all and won't ask for help, and they feel guilty about not being able to give all of their time and attention to their ill or elderly loved one. So here are 6 tips to help you prevent caregiver burnout. Tip number 1, talk it out. Manage your stress by finding someone you trust, such as a family member, a friend, a coworker, or a neighbor, that you can talk to about your feelings and frustrations. Tip number 2, you can find a caregiver support group, and that way you can connect with others who are dealing with similar experiences. And many of them allow you to meet in person or virtually. Tip number 3, use home care tools and technology tools. I specifically love the video cameras that I have set up for my dad. That way I can keep an eye on him. There's even an app where it has an app where I can watch him if I'm out of the house and the nurse is here or whatever. It's absolutely awesome. And it's very helpful because I don't have to get up in the middle of the night to go check in on him. There's other elderly tools such as a shower chair. His recliner chair has a lift to make it easier for him to get out of the chair. I don't have to pull his weight. Even though he's not very heavy, not very big, still dead weight is heavy if you're trying to pull. There's the toilet raiser. There's so many different tools out there in the market. It's pretty amazing. So tip number 4, take advantage of respite care services. This is something else that I utilize. Respite care provides a temporary break for caregivers. This can range from a few hours of in-home care to a short stay in a nursing home or assisted living facility. And if your loved one is a veteran, there's programs available. But if not, don't worry. There are local, county, and government programs for the aging that generally provide respite care services. Tip number 5, be realistic about your loved one's disease, especially if it's a progressive disease such as Parkinson's or Alzheimer's. Now, if you are unable to provide 24/7 care, acknowledge that there may come a time when the patient requires nursing services or assisted living outside of the family home. Tip number 6, don't forget about yourself because you're too busy caring for someone else. Set aside time for yourself, even if it's an hour or 2. Remember, taking care of yourself is not a luxury. It is an absolute necessity for caregivers, specifically. So stay healthy by eating right, getting plenty of exercise and sleep. Treat yourself and get massages. Get out in the air and walk. Stretch. Yoga. It doesn't have to be significant, but do something to take care of yourself. Now, here are a few caregiver burnout symptoms to look out for. Changes in sleep patterns, getting sick more often, emotional and physical exhaustion, and if you're easily irritable, that is my primary sign that I need to get some self-care. So, read this article and get more tips by going to Cleveland Clinic and search for Caregiver Burnout, or click the link that I've shared in on my channel to take you directly to the article. Jen Mann is best known for her wildly popular and hysterical blog, People You Want to Punch in the Throat. She has been described by many as Irma Bumback with F-bounds. Jen is known for her hilarious rants and funny observations on everything from parenting to gift giving to celebrity behavior to politics and to elves on shelves. She does not suffer fools lightly. We are excited because Jen is the New York Times best-selling author of Midlife Bites. Anyone else falling apart, or is it just me? Jen is a married mother of 2 children whom she calls Gomer and Adolpha, if I'm pronouncing that right, in her writings, and she swears their real names are actually worse. Thank you, Jen, for joining us.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
So please tell us about your book.
Oh, my book. My book is called Midlife Bites because, I am in the throes of midlife and it really kind of blows. But I woke up a couple years ago. I'm actually turning 50 next month, but it was a few weeks before my 47th birthday when I woke up one morning and realized like my life was half over. Like there was really no denying it at that point. And I sort of had this, I don't know, just this downward spiral where I was like, what have I done? Like, what have I accomplished? What am I doing? I looked at my kids and I thought, they were teenagers at that point, and I just thought, are they nice? Are they ready to go out into the world? Like, have I done a good job? And then I looked at my husband who I'd been married to for several years at that point, and I was like, has he always chewed like that? Like, what will we talk about after the kids are gone? What will we fight about after the kids are gone? And yeah, I just kind of had all these thoughts, and before I could kind of shut it all down, I kind of let myself wallow in it all. And I compared myself with everybody else and what they were doing. I felt like everybody else kind of had it all figured out. And I felt like, I thought about my mom and my grandmother and my aunts, and I thought, how'd they do this? Like they all made it seem easy. Like, why is nobody talking about how this is not very easy? And so with my husband's sort of pushing me, because he really didn't want to hear about it, he suggested I write a blog post on my blog, People I Want to Punch in the Throat. And so I wrote a blog post and I called it Anyone Else Falling Apart, or Is It Just Me? And I put it out there. And it struck a nerve. It just struck a chord with so many women. My inbox just started blowing up and I just started getting all these messages. I have a large community. I have over 1 million followers on social media, but I hadn't really been blogging regularly for years at that point. So I kind of didn't know if it was going to go into a black hole or not, but it did get picked up, and people started kind of replying to me and emailing me. And one of the people who emailed me was my editor at Random House, Pamela Cannon. And we had been kind of looking for the new thing. I have several People I Want to Punch in the Throat books, but we've always been kind of thinking like, what's the next step? What am I going to do next? And so she came back with this email that she was like, this is it. Like, this is what you need to write about. Like, I feel it. Everyone feels it. And no one is talking about it. So please go write the book. So I just started writing it about my experience and how I've been going through midlife and what I've tried and what worked for me and even what doesn't work for me. And the fact that I'm still kind of in the throes of it. I'm coming out the other side of it, but it just, I just feel like we're not talking about this enough. I came up through the rise of like mommy bloggers, and we talked a lot about parenting, and we kind of pulled back the veil back then on like postpartum depression and how much we love our kids, but yet we need a break. And so I just think this is sort of the next natural progression of conversation that we're going to have.
Especially dealing with teens. I'm sure that's pretty hilarious.
Oh, I know. Well, but that's a part, is that I'm at a point now where I can't write about them anymore. Their friends read my stuff, and they're no longer my stories to tell. I have to wait till they're ready. And then so it's more just, this one's really me kind of getting deep and introspective on myself this time.
Are you allowed to share like a little excerpt or anything with the audience?
Probably. I just happen to have it sitting here. I wasn't ready for this, though, so I'm not sure. I haven't read anything.
And when I read that you're the Irma Bombeck, I used to love her. I was like 12, 13, going to the library, getting her books. So I was like, yes.
Yes. Irma, that sort of came out of when I was doing the mommy blog stuff. I had right away, I had only been blogging for a few months and I had a viral post that took off and people just started sending me messages and they're like, you're Irma Bombeck, but with a potty mouth.
Yeah. So, you were probably about 7 when she was popular, I'm guessing. I was
probably
12 or whatever. I got a few more years on you.
Yeah, probably.
Very cool.
Let's see. I'm trying to figure out, can I cuss on this podcast?
It's YouTube. I think you can.
Okay. Well, some people just have like personal preference. So I'm a cusser. So as we just discussed, I just want to make sure before I start reading this.
I am also just haven't done it on YouTube yet.
So this is an excerpt from a chapter called Is That a Hair on My Nipple and Other Things I Never Thought I'd Ask. So but I need to find the point that I wanted to talk about it here. Oh, okay, here we go. So I'm kind of lamenting about how as we age, just everything is changing. I've slowly gone blonde over the years because it hides the gray better. I used to be a redhead, that wasn't natural either. I don't even know what my natural hair color is anymore, but I just have gone blonde. And so it's just like every time I go to the salon, it's more and more. She's like, a little bit more, because you're awfully gray. So I talk about, I lost the hair from my eyebrows, but then I had hair sprouting out of unusual spots. My ears, my chin, even my fucking nipple. And my breasts, oh my God, my breasts. I don't have many good qualities, but those breasts used to be my shining glory. Now they were no longer symmetrical. One was decidedly longer than the other. Yeah, I said longer, not bigger. They now both resemble 2 loaves of French bread racing toward my waist, one just a bit closer to winning than the other. It's the one without the hairy nipple, in case you were wondering. To still look halfway decent, they require bras that consist mostly of industrial-grade reinforced wiring covered by a swatch of fabric that run in the ballpark of no less than $100 a piece. It's quite an effort. And please don't ask me about my nether regions. I could have swamp crotch on Monday and the Mojave Desert on Tuesday. I just try and keep it neat and as pleasant as I can for visitors. I've never been a skinny girl. I'm more of an hourglass type. As I've aged, the hourglass has spread into more of a pear, and now I'm well on my way to a goddamn apple. The ironic part is that I'm actually moving more and eating less than ever before, and my middle-aged body is like, ha, you ate a salad. Yeah, that used to work. Not anymore. Fuck you.
I love it. Wait, so you mentioned the hair. I just pluck it when it comes now, and then I get a little piece of hair there that I pluck. Sometimes I don't even notice that it's there. It's like, oh, S, I'm about to cuss. Pluck that out. So I get that, and then the Mojave Desert. It's probably too much information, but I am too old. I literally tried that for a birthday gift last year for my boyfriend. She did two pulls. I was like, that's it.
As far as I'm going. Thank you.
She's just going to deal with the desert and be happy because
that's right. At this point, I'm just like, grab a machete and get in there. Like, I can't help you.
It's too painful. I'm like, does it get more painful when we hit our midlife? Because I don't remember it being that painful.
Well, I think, baby, I have a whole theory about that when we were younger, like we felt like we had to do it. So we like put up with the pain. And now we're just sort of like, no, you're just lucky you're getting in there. Like, just enjoy the moment, you know?
I'm like, I can never be with a younger guy at this age because you'd have to wax, and like, that's not going to happen.
Or you just teach them the glory of the bush. I don't know.
They have to learn. I love it. Like, I just had a friend's, I think it was her 60th birthday. Actually, I forgot, like 2 weeks ago. And that would have been a great gift because I did give her books, but it were motivational books, but that would have been hilarious. So
this one's like half motivation and also just half, spit out your tea. I feel like my whole theory in life is that life is hard. And so we have to laugh or cry. So we might as well laugh. And so I will be happy to make fun of everything that's going on. But I also have some actual like words of wisdom. My publisher did make me put in some actual like advice. So, but I feel like that's not very fun to read on the podcast. So,
but you know what? I always say you have two choices. And when people get upset about getting older, it's like you got two choices, either get older or the other option.
Right.
So you may as well laugh all the way through it, right?
Just embrace it and roll with it, I guess, at this point.
Yeah. And your book, I think because we get so serious about life, we have to remember to laugh. So I think your book is a perfect remedy for that. It's like you're too serious, you're too miserable. Laugh about it and get over it and keep going.
And keep going. Just keep moving. It's interesting. I read so many self-help books because I knew this was kind of go in a self-help genre. And I started reading all the self-help books and I realized like everything I needed to know about self-help, I learned from like those Disney movies, like with Dory, like just keep swimming. And I was like, wait a minute, this is just self-help. All Disney's doing is giving me self-help. But it's the same idea where I'm just like, you just have to keep pushing through it and you have to keep moving. Because if you stop moving, then you're going to die. So, and we don't want to do that.
Yeah. And don't get too pissed off about it. Along the way.
The middle-aged rage is like real though. So I get that. I mean, I just watched the new Netflix special from Ali Wong the other night. I don't know if you've watched it yet, but it's hilarious. And she talks about like how she's so angry. And I was like, yes.
So is there anything in your book, like maybe that's a common denominator with you and your friends, that's a funny midlife change that you had to put in the book?
I think just a lot of the book stems from like conversations that I've had with friends. I also have a private Facebook group called Midlife Bites, and I have like 30,000 women in there. And so I sort of kind of went through there to figure out what were they talking about, like what was important to them. Friendship came up, purpose was a big one. And so kind of, because I think at this point, like, this is like a great time to pivot. It's like, I don't know about you, but like my kids are teenagers. I've got one who'll be a senior next year. So it's like in the next couple of years, I'm going to have a lot of free time and I'm not going to have a lot, to do really. I'm going to be sad. And so I'm going to need a new focus. And so I think there's a lot of that we always kind of as moms, like I always kind of put my kids, even though I've always worked, as like my kids are first, my kids are a priority. Right. And pretty soon, like even now, like one of them, my junior, like he barely needs me. I mean, yesterday I was with his sister at a doctor's appointment and he literally texted me. He was like, I think I broke my finger at school today. And I was like, okay, well, I'm at the doctor. So just drive over to the doctor. And he's like, no, I got to get to work. I'll see you later. And I was like, okay.
Well, at least you raised a responsible child.
I guess, or a dummy. I don't know. I was like, do you sure? Are you don't, I'm like, well, take some Tylenol. So, but it's like, I think that we're all kind of looking for like what our next path is. And I think that's where a lot of the fear and sort of some of the rage and anxiety comes into it too, is that we're not sure where we're going next. And the thing that I've been learning from sort of women who are gone ahead of me is that you can go anywhere you want. You can do it, to them, it's like, this is a whole new opportunity. This is the second half of your life. Go live it, go do the things that you couldn't do before. So I'm excited for that. So there's a lot of that in there too.
Okay. So how would people find your book or anything about you?
Right. Well? So if you want to find me, my website is called Jen Mann Writes, and that's Jen with one N and Mann with two N's. And so it's jenmannwrites.com. You can also go to peopleiwantopunchinthethroat.com, which is my blog, and you can read all my blog posts. And that's probably the best place to go and see if you like me, because I'm not everybody's cup of tea. And if you don't like me, then you'll know right away. If you don't like the blog, you won't like me. And that's fine. I hope you find someone else who makes you laugh. Yeah. But I'm on all the social medias. You can find me on all your social media, TikToks and Instagrams and Facebook channels. I'm all out there. And then my book should be in every bookstore that you visit. Mm-hmm. And if it is not, they can absolutely order it for you. So your local bookstore can order it for you if they're not carrying it. Amazon, of course, has it. And it's also an audiobook. And then yeah, so that's where, oh, and your library should have it. And if they don't have it, please ask your library to order it. I love libraries. Sometimes people say, oh, I feel bad getting it from the library. No, I love libraries. Please get it from the library.
Save a lot of money going to the library.
Exactly. And again, you'll figure out real quick if I'm your cup of tea. And if I am, and you want to, because some people, that's something that's cracking me up about this book, is that I've never really had a book that people actually like read. Not that, okay, that sounds terrible. I have had books that people reread, but I mean, like, they're like rereading it and they're like underlining shit. Like, they're just like, oh, this was important. I need to remember this. And I'm like, that's funny. And so if you get it from the library, please don't mark up their copy. Go get your own.
Perfect. Thank you so much for joining us, Jen. So ladies, get her book and just laugh about midlife. Like, get over the uptightness, just laugh and enjoy it and keep on your journey. Yes. Keep going.
You said it. Well, thank you so much for having me. This was a great time. I really am so glad that we connected, and I hope we stay in touch. And
definitely.
And, I look forward to seeing you online.
Let me know of your next project.
I will. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.